Before you decide I'm the worst person alive, please just listen to my side. Yes, I told my husband that my trainer knew my body better than he did. Yes, I said it during an argument. Yes, I knew it would hurt him. But it was supposed to be a joke. A sarcastic jab. The kind of petty thing you say in the heat of the moment when you're frustrated and angry and not thinking clearly. I never meant it literally. I never expected him to actually do anything about it. But he did. He grabbed his car keys, looked at me with eyes colder than I'd ever seen, and said, "If he knows your body better than I do, then let him handle you." And that's how I ended up standing on my personal trainer's front porch at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night, shaking and humiliated, while my husband knocked on the door and announced to the entire neighborhood that his wife had been inappropriate with another man. I'm sitting in a coffee shop right now, the only place I could think to go after everything fell apart, trying to make sense of how one stupid comment destroyed my marriage, my gym membership, my reputation, and my relationship with half the people I know. My phone has been buzzing nonstop for 3 days. Messages from people at the gym, messages from mutual friends, messages from my trainer's wife, who now thinks I've been having an affair with her husband. Messages from my own family, asking what the hell happened and why my husband is staying at his brother's place. Everyone wants to know my side of the story. Everyone wants to understand how things went so wrong so fast. So here it is, the whole truth, starting from the beginning. My husband's name is Marcus. We've been married for 6 years, together for 8. When we met, I was 25 and working in graphic design. He was 27, in software development, stable and successful. We met through mutual friends at a game night, hit it off immediately, started dating within weeks. Marcus is a good man, patient, kind, hard-working, the kind of husband who fixes things around the house without being asked, who remembers anniversaries, who texts during the day to check in. On paper, he's everything you'd want in a partner. But somewhere around year 4 of our marriage, things started to feel stagnant. Not bad, not unhappy, just flat. The romance faded, the passion cooled. We fell into routines that felt more like obligations than connections. Dinner, TV, bed, repeat. Weekends were errands and meal prep and catching up on sleep. We were functional, comfortable, but not excited about each other anymore. I started feeling invisible, like I was just the wife, a role I played rather than a person he saw. He'd come home from work, give me a distracted kiss, ask what was for dinner, then disappear into his home office or in front of the TV. When I tried to talk about it, he'd say things like, "I'm just tired," or "Work has been stressful," or "We're fine, you're overthinking." But we weren't fine. At least, I wasn't fine. I felt like I was disappearing into our marriage, becoming background noise in my own life. So I joined a gym. Let me be very clear about this. I didn't join the gym to meet men. I joined because I needed something that was mine. Something that made me feel strong and capable, and seen as an individual rather than just someone's wife. I'd gained some weight over the years of marriage, stress, comfort eating, lack of motivation. I wasn't unhealthy, but I didn't feel good in my body anymore. I wanted to feel strong again, confident again, like myself again. The gym had a program where you could work with a personal trainer for the first month to learn proper form and build a routine. I signed up for it. That's how I met Dylan. Dylan was 29, a certified personal trainer who'd been working at the gym for 3 years. He was professional, knowledgeable, encouraging. He created workout plans tailored to my goals, taught me proper techniques, pushed me to work harder than I thought I could. And yes, he was attractive. Objectively attractive. Fit, friendly, charismatic in the way people in fitness careers tend to be. The kind of person whose job requires them to be in good shape and know how to motivate people. But I wasn't attracted to him. At least, not at first, not consciously. He was my trainer, someone I saw twice a week for an hour at a time, who helped me with my fitness goals and occasionally made small talk between sets. Our first session was professional and straightforward. He asked about my goals, my fitness history, any injuries or limitations. He demonstrated exercises, corrected my form, explained the reasoning behind each movement. It was exactly what I'd signed up for, expert guidance from someone who knew what they were doing. "You did great today," he said at the end of that first session. "I can tell you're going to make real progress." Something about the way he said it, the confidence, the certainty, made me feel capable in a way I hadn't felt in months. Our second session was similar. Professional, focused, effective. But this time, he remembered details from our previous conversation. Asked how I'd felt after the first workout, whether I'd been too sore, if I'd had any questions. Small things that showed he was paying attention. By the third session, we'd established a rapport. He learned that I worked in graphic design, that I was married, that I had a cat named Pixel. I learned that he'd been training for 5 years, that he was passionate about helping people reach their goals, that he had a girlfriend who also worked in fitness. It was friendly, pleasant, nothing inappropriate. But over the weeks and months, something shifted. Dylan started noticing things, little things, details that Marcus hadn't noticed or commented on in years. "You're getting stronger," he'd say, watching me complete a set. "Look at your arms. You can see the muscle definition developing. Your posture has improved so much since we started. You stand taller now. You should be really proud of your progress. Not everyone sticks with it like you have." And I started looking forward to our sessions in ways that went beyond just fitness. I started thinking about what I'd wear to the gym, not in a deliberately seductive way, but wanting to look put together, wanting to make an effort. I started planning my week around our training days. I started caring about Dylan's opinion of my progress more than seemed strictly necessary. When he complimented my form, I'd feel a rush of pride that seemed disproportionate. When he adjusted my posture, touching my shoulders or arms to guide me into position, I'd notice the contact in ways I probably shouldn't have. When he smiled and said, "You've got this," during a difficult exercise, I'd push harder than I thought possible because I didn't want to disappoint him. None of it was overtly inappropriate. Dylan never flirted with me, never made suggestive comments, never crossed any professional boundaries. He treated me exactly like he treated his other clients, with encouragement, attention, and expertise. But I was responding to that attention in ways that went beyond the normal client-trainer relationship. I started thinking about him between sessions, wondering what he thought of my progress, comparing my workouts with Dylan to my evenings at home with Marcus, where I felt ignored and taken for granted. With Dylan, I felt seen. Every rep I completed, every pound I lifted, every improvement I made, he noticed it all. He celebrated it. He made me feel like my efforts mattered. With Marcus, I felt invisible. Coming home to, "How was your day?" asked while he scrolled through his phone. To dinners where we barely talked. To evenings where we existed in the same space but lived in completely different worlds. The contrast became more and more obvious to me, and more painful. Over the months, I got stronger, lost the weight I'd wanted to lose, felt better in my body, felt more confident, felt like I was taking care of myself in a way I hadn't in years. And Dylan noticed, because that's his job, to notice progress, to celebrate achievements, to make clients feel good about the work they're doing. "You're killing it today," he'd say during workouts, and I'd feel a surge of pride. "That form is perfect, you've really mastered this," and I'd stand a little taller. "You should be proud of how far you've come," and I'd feel accomplished in ways I hadn't felt in my actual life. It was encouraging, motivating, professional. But somewhere along the way, I started looking forward to our sessions more than I should have. Not because of anything inappropriate, but because those were the only times during the week when someone was paying complete attention to me. When someone noticed my efforts, celebrated my progress, made me feel seen. I started extending our conversations, asking him about his weekend, his girlfriend, his other clients, not in a flirty way, just wanting to connect, wanting to matter to him beyond being just another person on his schedule. And Dylan, being a good trainer, was friendly in return. He'd ask about my week, remember details I'd mentioned, joke around between sets, because that's what good trainers do. They build relationships with their clients. They make training enjoyable. They create an environment where people want to keep coming back. He was doing his job, but I was responding to that attention with an emotional investment that went way beyond fitness. Marcus didn't notice I'd lost weight until I'd been working with Dylan for 4 months. 4 months, 15 pounds, a complete transformation in how I felt about myself. Clothes fitting differently, my face looking different, my entire energy and confidence changing. And all Marcus said when he finally noticed was, "Oh, you look different. Have you been working out?" That's when I knew I was in trouble, because my immediate reaction wasn't happiness that my husband had finally noticed. It was anger that it had taken him so long, and immediately following that anger was a thought I shouldn't have had. Dylan would have noticed the first week. Because Dylan did notice, every small change, every pound lost, every exercise mastered, every improvement in my form, or my strength, or my endurance. Dylan knew exactly how much weight I'd lost, how much stronger I'd gotten, which exercises I'd struggled with, and which ones I'd mastered. He remembered details about my progress that my own husband didn't even notice existed, and that comparison became toxic. I started mentioning Dylan at home, not obsessively, or at least I didn't think it was obsessive at the time, just naturally. The way you'd mention anyone you interact with regularly. Dylan says I'm finally ready to increase my weights. Dylan showed me this new exercise today that really targets the core. Dylan thinks I should try adding some cardio intervals to my routine. Dylan noticed I've been favoring my right side. He gave me some corrective exercises. I thought I was just sharing updates about my fitness journey, talking about my day the way anyone would talk about their work or their activities. But Marcus heard something different. Marcus heard me talking about another man, constantly, with enthusiasm, with admiration, with more excitement than I showed about anything in our actual marriage. I didn't realize how often I mentioned Dylan until Marcus started pointing it out, started making comments, started getting visibly uncomfortable whenever his name came up. "You talk about your trainer a lot," he said one night. "I see him twice a week," I replied defensively. "Of course I'm going to mention him." "It's not just mentioning him. It's the way you talk about him, like he's the most important part of your week. He's helping me get healthy. That is important." But even as I said it, I knew Marcus had a point. Dylan had become the most important part of my week. Not because I wanted to date him or be with him, but because those training sessions were when I felt best about myself, when I felt noticed, when I felt like I mattered, and I couldn't see how toxic that had become until it was too late. The tension had been building for weeks before the fight. Marcus made a few comments here and there. "You talk about your trainer a lot. Must be nice having someone so invested in your progress. I'm glad someone is paying attention to your body." I brushed them off as insecurity, told him he was being ridiculous, that Dylan was just doing his job. But looking back, I can see how it looked from Marcus's perspective. His wife losing weight, getting more confident, talking constantly about another man, coming home from the gym energized in ways she wasn't energized about anything else in their marriage. I can see now how that would feel threatening, but at the time, I was just annoyed that Marcus was making my fitness journey about him, that he was being possessive and jealous instead of supportive. The big fight happened on a Tuesday night. I'd just gotten home from the gym, from a particularly good session with Dylan, where I'd hit a new personal record on my deadlift. I was excited, energized, proud of myself. Marcus was in the kitchen making dinner. I came in still in my workout clothes, grabbed some water, started telling him about my achievement. Dylan says my form is textbook now, I said enthusiastically. And I deadlifted 135 pounds. Can you believe it? 4 months ago I could barely lift the bar. Marcus didn't respond, just kept chopping vegetables with more force than necessary. Did you hear me? I asked. I heard you, he said flatly. Dylan this, Dylan that, I heard you. Why are you being like this? He set down the knife and turned to face me. Do you realize how often you talk about him, your trainer, this Dylan person who apparently knows everything about you? He knows about my fitness. That's literally his job. Does he know you're married? Of course he knows I'm married. Marcus, what is this about? It's about the fact that you come home glowing after every session with this guy. It's about the fact that you can barely have a conversation without bringing him up. It's about the fact that you're more excited about your trainer's opinions than anything happening in our actual marriage. That's not fair, isn't it? When's the last time you were this excited to see me? When's the last time you talked about something I did or said with this much enthusiasm? He had a point. I hated that he had a point. Maybe if you paid attention to me the way Dylan pays attention to his clients, I'd have more to be excited about, I shot back. So this is about him, Marcus said, his voice getting harder. This is about comparing me to some gym bro who gets paid to compliment you. He doesn't just compliment me, he actually notices me. He pays attention. He sees the effort I'm putting in. I see your effort. No, you don't. You didn't even notice I'd lost weight until I'd been working out for 4 months. You don't notice anything about me anymore. I could show up wearing a garbage bag and you wouldn't care as long as dinner was ready. The argument escalated from there. Both of us saying things we shouldn't. Both of us frustrated with issues that went deeper than the gym or the trainer. And then, in a moment of pure spite, trying to win the argument, trying to hurt him the way I felt hurt, I said it. Maybe you should watch Dylan train me sometime. He actually knows my body. He knows what I'm capable of. He pushes me. He sees me, which is more than I can say for you. The words hung in the air. I watched Marcus's face change, not to hurt, not to anger, to something else, something cold and determined. He knows your body, Marcus repeated slowly. I didn't mean... No, you said it. Your trainer knows your body better than your husband does. Marcus, I was just trying to make a point. He grabbed his keys from the counter. Put your shoes on. What? Put your shoes on. Where are we going? You said he knows your body. I'm taking you to him. Let's see if he wants that responsibility. My blood ran cold. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. Let's go, now. Marcus, I was being dramatic. I didn't literally mean, get in the car or I'm going without you and having this conversation with him alone. Your choice. I stood there frozen, trying to figure out if he was bluffing. The look on his face said he wasn't. Please, I said. Please don't do this. It was a stupid thing to say. I'm sorry. Let's just talk about this. We're done talking. Get in the car. The drive was the longest 20 minutes of my life. Marcus didn't say a word, just drove with his jaw clenched, knuckles white on the steering wheel, eyes fixed straight ahead. I tried multiple times to break the silence. Marcus, please, this is insane. I was angry. I said something stupid. It didn't mean anything. Nothing. He's just my trainer. There's nothing between us. You're overreacting. Still nothing. Where are we even going? You don't know where he lives. I looked it up, Marcus said. First words in 15 minutes. Dylan Roberts, personal trainer at Fit Life Gym, found his address online in about 30 seconds. Amazing what you can find when you're motivated. My stomach dropped. You looked up my trainer's address? Your trainer who apparently knows your body better than I do? Yeah, I looked him up. Marcus, please, save it. I recognized the neighborhood when we turned onto Dillon Street. I'd been here once before. Dylan had mentioned he lived near the gym, and I'd driven this way to avoid traffic after a session. I'd never pointed out his house, never stopped, but apparently I'd said something that Marcus remembered, or maybe he'd asked around, or checked the gym's records somehow. I didn't know, and it didn't matter. He pulled up in front of a small house with a neat lawn and a porch light on, a truck in the driveway that I recognized as Dylan's. Marcus turned off the engine. "Get out," he said. "No. Get out of the car or I'm dragging you out." I'd never heard that tone from him before. Cold, final, like he was done negotiating. "What are you going to do?" I asked, my voice shaking. "I'm going to knock on his door and let him know that his client, my wife, says he knows her body better than her husband does. And then we're going to see what he has to say about that." "You can't—" But he was already out of the car, walking up to the front door like a man on a mission. I scrambled out after him, my mind racing. This couldn't be happening. This was insane. This was going to ruin everything. Marcus knocked on the door. Loud, firm, unmistakable. "Marcus, please," I begged, grabbing his arm. "Don't do this. I'll do anything. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please just let's go home and talk about this." The porch light brightened. I heard movement inside the house. The door opened. Dylan stood there in sweatpants and a t-shirt, hair messy, clearly having been relaxing at home. He looked confused, surprised to see us. "Hey," he said, looking between Marcus and me. "Is everything okay?" "Are you Dylan Roberts?" Marcus asked. His voice was calm, too calm. "Yeah. And you are?" "Marcus, her husband." He gestured to me. "I need to talk to you about something my wife said." Dylan's confusion deepened. "Okay, what's going on?" And then Marcus said it, loud enough that I knew the neighbors could hear, clear enough that there was no misunderstanding. "My wife told me tonight that you know her body better than I do, said I should watch you train her because you actually see her and push her and know what she's capable of. So I'm here to ask, is that true? Do you know my wife's body better than her husband does?" I wanted to die, wanted the ground to open up and swallow me whole. Dylan's face went from confused to shocked to horrified in seconds. "What? No, I'm her trainer. I help her with workouts. That's it. That's all it is." "So you don't know her body?" Marcus pressed. "I know her fitness level, her form, her progress. That's my job. But not... I don't... This isn't..." Dylan was stammering, clearly panicking. "Who is it?" A woman's voice called from inside the house. Oh God, no." A woman appeared behind Dylan. Pretty, petite, wearing pajamas, looking annoyed at being disturbed. "Dylan, what's going on? Who are these people?" Dylan turned to her, his face pale. "Babe, this is just a client from the gym and her..." "I'm her husband," Marcus interrupted. "And I'm here because my wife has been telling me how much better you know her body than I do, how you see her and push her and pay attention to her. I wanted to meet the man who's apparently so invested in my wife." The woman's expression changed instantly, from annoyed to suspicious to furious. "Excuse me." She looked at Dylan. "What is he talking about?" "It's not... There's nothing..." Dylan was scrambling. "She's just a client. I train her twice a week, that's it." "Then why is her husband here at 11 p.m. saying you know his wife's body?" The woman's voice was rising. "I don't. She's a client. I teach her exercises. I spot her on weights. It's completely professional." "Is it?" Marcus asked calmly. "Because my wife seems to think you two have some special connection. Talks about you constantly. Comes home glowing after your sessions. Compares me to you regularly." "That's not my fault." Dylan looked at me desperately. Tell them there's nothing going on. Tell your husband I've never been anything but professional." All eyes turned to me. I stood there on the porch, shaking, with my husband glaring at me, my trainer panicking, and his girlfriend, wife, looking at me like I was something disgusting she'd found on the bottom of her shoe. "There's nothing going on," I managed to say. "I swear." I said something stupid during a fight and Marcus took it the wrong way. The wrong way? Marcus turned to me. You said he knows your body better than I do. What other way is there to take that? It was just about fitness, about him being a good trainer. It didn't mean anything else. But you said it, the woman snapped. You said my husband knows your body. What kind of client says that? I didn't mean it like... How many times have you talked about my husband at home, she demanded. How many times have you mentioned him to your husband? I couldn't answer. Oh my God, she said. You have feelings for him. You're one of those clients. I don't, I swear I don't. He's just a good trainer. A good trainer who you compare your husband to. A good trainer who you think knows your body. Do you even hear yourself? Dylan jumped in, desperate now. I've never encouraged anything. I've never been inappropriate. I'm friendly and supportive because that's my job, but I've never... You've never what? His girlfriend interrupted. Never noticed that this woman has been flirting with you? Never noticed that she talks about you to her husband constantly? Never thought it was weird that she's so invested in your opinion? I thought she was just an enthusiastic client. An enthusiastic married woman who apparently thinks you know her body better than her own husband. Lights were coming on in neighboring houses. I could see curtains moving, people looking out to see what the commotion was about. This was a nightmare, an actual living nightmare. I think you should leave, Dylan said, his voice strained. I'm sorry for whatever miscommunication happened, but you need to go, both of you. Gladly, Marcus said. He looked at me. Come on. But Dylan's girlfriend wasn't done. If I see you at the gym, she said to me, her voice shaking with anger, if I ever see you near my husband again, we're going to have a problem. Do you understand? I nodded mutely, tears streaming down my face. And Dylan? She turned to him. We're going to talk about this. About how many of your clients think they have special connections with you. About boundaries. About why a married woman feels comfortable comparing you to her husband. Babe, I swear... She slammed the door in our faces. Marcus was already walking back to the car. I stood there for another second, frozen in humiliation, hearing muffled arguing from inside the house. Then I ran after Marcus. The drive home was silent except for my sobbing. Marcus didn't say a word, didn't look at me, just drove with that same cold expression, like I wasn't even there. When we got home, he went straight to the guest bedroom, locked the door. I tried knocking. Marcus, please talk to me. Let me explain. There's nothing to explain, he said through the door. You compared me to another man. You told me he knows your body better than I do. You humiliated both of us tonight. There's nothing left to say. It was a stupid comment. I didn't mean anything by it. You meant enough to say it. That's all that matters. Please don't shut me out. Go to bed, we'll talk tomorrow. But I couldn't sleep. I lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything that had happened. Around 2 a.m., my phone started buzzing. Messages from Dylan. I don't know what you told your husband, but this is completely unacceptable. You've put me in an impossible position with my girlfriend. I can't train you anymore. Don't come to the gym. I'll let the management know you need to be transferred to another trainer. Messages from a number I didn't recognize. Probably Dylan's girlfriend. Stay away from my boyfriend. I've already contacted the gym about your behavior. Everyone there is going to know what you did. And in the morning, more messages. From people at the gym. From acquaintances who'd apparently heard what happened. Did you really go to Dylan's house? I heard you've been inappropriate with one of the trainers. The gym is talking about revoking your membership. Word had spread. Fast. Marcus didn't speak to me at breakfast. He sat across the table, drinking coffee, scrolling through his phone, acting like I wasn't there. Marcus, I tried, can we please talk about this? There's nothing to talk about. Yes, there is. What happened last night was horrible, and I need you to understand. I understand perfectly, he interrupted. I understand that you've been emotionally invested in your trainer. I understand that you compare me to him. I understand that you felt comfortable saying he knows your body better than I do. What else is there to understand? I didn't mean it that way. Then what way did you mean it? I opened my mouth, closed it, tried to find words that would make this better. I just meant that he pays attention to my progress, that he notices when I work hard, that he's invested in my fitness goals. And I'm not. You didn't even notice I'd lost weight for 4 months. Because you didn't tell me you were trying to lose weight, Marcus's voice rose. You just started going to the gym and coming home talking about your amazing trainer. You never said, I'm working on my fitness, please notice and support me. You just started obsessing over another man and expected me to be fine with it. I wasn't obsessing. You talked about him constantly. You compared us. You got defensive when I pointed out how much you mention him. And then you told me he knows your body better than I do. How is that not obsessing? I had no answer. Marcus stood up, walked to the counter, pulled out an envelope. My stomach dropped. What is that? He slid it across the table. Divorce papers. No, I whispered. No, Marcus, you can't. I can't be married to someone who compares me to other men, he said quietly. I can't spend my marriage wondering if you're thinking about your trainer or your ex or whoever else you decide knows you better than I do. I can't compete with fantasies you've built up in your head. I don't have fantasies about Dylan. Maybe not, but you built him up into something I'm not, and you threw it in my face during a fight. And when I called you out on it, you doubled down instead of apologizing. So now here we are. I'm apologizing now. I'm sorry. I was angry and I said something cruel and I didn't mean it. You did mean it, Marcus said. Maybe not consciously, maybe not maliciously, but you meant it enough to say it, and I can't forget that. I can't unhear it. He picked up his keys. Where are you going? I asked desperately. To my brother's, to stay there while we figure out separation logistics. Marcus, please. Sign the papers or don't, he said. But either way, I'm done. You wanted someone who knows your body. You wanted someone who pays more attention. Go find him, because it's not going to be me anymore. He walked out, the door closed, and I sat there with divorce papers on my kitchen table, my marriage ending because I'd made a stupid comment about my personal trainer. It's been a week now. I've been served with official divorce papers. Marcus is staying with his brother and refusing to take my calls. The gym revoked my membership. Apparently Dylan's girlfriend made such a scene with the management that they decided it was easier to just ban me than deal with the drama. People in my social circle have heard what happened. Some version of it, anyway. Probably exaggerated and distorted, but based enough in truth that I can't defend myself. The general consensus seems to be that I was having an inappropriate relationship with my trainer, and my husband caught me. I wasn't. There was nothing physical, nothing romantic, nothing inappropriate by any objective standard. But I was emotionally invested in a way I shouldn't have been. I was comparing Marcus to Dylan in ways that weren't fair to either of them. I was seeking validation from my trainer that I should have been getting from my husband. And when Marcus confronted me about it, instead of acknowledging his feelings and apologizing, I doubled down. I weaponized Dylan against Marcus. I said something deliberately cruel to hurt him. I destroyed my marriage with one sentence. He knows my body better than you do. 6 years of marriage. Gone. Because I couldn't keep my mouth shut during a fight. Because I let a professional relationship with my trainer become something I used against my husband. Because I made Marcus feel like he wasn't enough. And my sister came over yesterday. She'd heard through my mother that Marcus and I had separated. What happened? She asked gently. I told her, the whole story. The comment, the drive to Dylan's house, the confrontation on the porch, the divorce papers. She listened without interrupting, then sighed. You know you messed up, right? She said. I know. Not just the comment, but all of it. The way you talked about Dylan constantly. The way you let Marcus feel replaced before you ever said anything explicitly. The way you compared them. I know, I repeated. Do you? Because you keep talking about the one comment like that's the only problem. But Marcus didn't leave because of one comment. He left because of the pattern that comment revealed. She was right. I knew she was right. The comment wasn't the problem. It was just the final straw. The problem was that I'd checked out of my marriage emotionally. I'd stopped seeing Marcus as a partner and started seeing him as a disappointment. I'd started looking for validation elsewhere, from my trainer, from my fitness progress, from anything that made me feel seen and special. And instead of communicating with Marcus about feeling invisible, about needing more attention, about wanting to feel appreciated, I just built resentment and found someone else to compare him to. "Do you have feelings for Dylan?" my sister asked carefully. "No. Honestly, no. I think I just liked how he made me feel. Important. Noticed. Worthy of attention. But it wasn't about him specifically. It was about what he represented. Someone who saw my efforts and celebrated them." "And you never told Marcus you needed that from him?" "I tried, sort of. But not really. I made passive-aggressive comments. I got frustrated when he didn't notice things without me pointing them out. I expected him to read my mind." "So you set him up to fail, and then punished him for it by emotionally investing in another man." Put like that, it sounded even worse. "I didn't mean to." "I know you didn't. I know you're not a bad person, but you made bad choices, and now you're paying for them." She stayed for another hour, being supportive but honest, not letting me play the victim, making me face what I'd done. After she left, I sat alone in the apartment, Marcus's and mine, still technically ours for now, and thought about everything. I tried calling Marcus yesterday. He finally picked up. "What?" His voice was flat. "I need to talk to you." "So talk." "Not on the phone. Can we meet somewhere? Please?" He sighed. "Fine. Coffee shop on Main. Tomorrow at 2. He hung up before I could respond. I showed up 15 minutes early, anxious and hoping this conversation might save something. Anything. Marcus arrived exactly on time. Sat down across from me without ordering anything. "I'm sorry," I started immediately. "I'm so sorry for what I said, for how I made you feel, for everything." "Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say? That I forgive you? That we can work through this? I want you to give me a chance to make this right." He laughed bitterly. "You can't make this right. You can't unsay what you said. You can't undo the fact that you were more invested in your trainer's opinion than in our marriage." "I wasn't." "You were. Be honest, at least now. You looked forward to those training sessions more than you looked forward to seeing me. You talked about him constantly. You compared us. You thought about him in ways you shouldn't have thought about another man while married. I wanted to deny it, but I couldn't, because it was true." "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I know, but sorry doesn't change anything." "What can I do? What will it take for you to consider giving us another chance?" "There's nothing you can do," Marcus said, "because the problem isn't just what you said or what you did. It's that I can't trust you anymore. I can't trust that you're fully invested in us. I can't trust that you won't find another trainer or another man to compare me to when things get hard." "I would never." "You already did. You already chose to handle your frustrations by emotionally checking out and investing in someone else. Why would I believe you wouldn't do it again?" I had no answer. Marcus stood up. "Sign the papers. Let's make this as painless as possible." "You wanted someone who knows your body better. Go find him, but it's not going to be me." He walked out of the coffee shop. I sat there for another hour, crying into cold coffee, watching other people live their normal lives while mine fell apart. I'm signing the papers today. There's no point in fighting it. Marcus is done. He's made that clear. And honestly, he's right to be done. I destroyed our marriage. Not because I cheated, I didn't. Not because I was in love with Dylan, I wasn't. But because I stopped being present in my relationship. I stopped communicating. I stopped seeing Marcus as a partner and started seeing him as a disappointment. And when he called me out on it, instead of taking responsibility, I said something cruel, something designed to hurt him, something that revealed exactly how checked out I'd been. He knows my body better than you do. 6 words that ended a 6-year marriage. And the worst part? I can't even completely blame Marcus for what he did, for driving me to Dylan's house, for making me face the consequences of my words publicly and humiliatingly. Because he was right. If Dylan knew my body so much better, if I was so invested in Dylan's attention and opinion, then maybe I should have been with Dylan instead. Except I didn't want to be with Dylan. I wanted to be with someone who made me feel the way Dylan made me feel. Seen, valued, appreciated. But instead of asking Marcus to be that person, instead of working on our marriage, I just found someone to compare him to, and then weaponize that comparison during a fight. I'm going to sign the papers, move out of the apartment, start over somewhere new where people don't know me as that woman who had an inappropriate relationship with her trainer. Maybe someday I'll be in another relationship, and maybe I'll have learned from this. Maybe I'll communicate instead of building resentment. Maybe I'll address problems directly instead of seeking validation elsewhere. Maybe I'll appreciate what I have instead of comparing it to what I don't have. But right now, I'm just the woman who destroyed her marriage with one stupid comment about her personal trainer. And I have no one to blame but myself.